Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Friday NBA slate. We have 11 games tonight. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. It was a great day, just watching football, spending time with family, having good food, and then also made some money with the football slate. So that is something always just a little bit of a plus. Yesterday, put up 146 on DraftKings, even with having Darren Waller in the lineup. Had Dawson Knox in the flex. Had just a Cowboy stack with Dak and Gallup and Cedric Wilson. Had Hunter Renfrow, the core plays that I posted, did very well. And then the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, we absolutely smashed. Had one of the best days of the NBA season with Anthony Edwards as a core play, going for 70 fantasy points at like 10% ownership, 15% ownership. He was awesome. And I posted my prize picks as usual, and I won 5 of 5, so I made 10x if you played it. And yesterday's football one went 3 of 4 with the Josh Allen freebie. So follow me on Twitter if you're looking for the Prize Picks plays. Use my code if you want some free money to get you started. Looking forward to Prize Picks being offered in more states. And let's get into the picks today. So hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when I post. Looking forward to having a great day, getting the weekend started. Make it 3 really good days in a row. Today at point guard, you have Steph Curry. Some of these guys are a little bit cheaper. Curry's 11-4. Still very expensive, but a little bit cheaper than he was a couple of games ago when he was almost 12,000. He is coming off of another decent game. He's been getting you a lot of assists. He's been rebounding a lot more this year. They've been going a lot more small ball with Draymond at the 5. It's just opened up more rebounds for the guards and stuff like that. The matchup is amazing against Portland. You'd expect Curry and Damian Lillard to go back and forth and put on a show. So I don't mind getting to Steph Curry. Hopefully we get some more value plays throughout the day to make it work. Lillard, on the other hand, is 98. He's coming off of the last 3 games. He's played really well. He's actually been super consistent ever since the beginning of the month. If you've been playing him, you've been satisfied. 40s, high 40s, 50s in a couple of these spots. Recently, he's been even better, playing huge minutes. Expect him to play, if he's been playing 40 minutes in regulation. The price tag is high, but this game looks to be appealing to target, so I'd rather go like Damian Lillard than I would go Russell Westbrook or probably even go LeBron. Now that probably Davis will be back and they're back to having their big 3. LaMelo is 10-3. He gets a date against Minnesota. He's fine as well. It's hard time for me to pay 10 plus for him. I've been saying that all year, but if you can make it work, great. If not, go down to like 9K Lillard or like 98 Lillard to go down to. We have more value plays like $9,300 Trae Young. You have $9,400 DeJounte, who's been putting up 50 and 60 point upside almost as regularly as LaMelo for a fraction of the ownership. He's been taking 20 plus shots the last couple of games. Moran is 96. He's somebody that's kind of come back down to earth from a fantasy perspective. Earlier in the season, he was dropping 50s and 60s with ease, but with Dylan Brooks back, he's taken some of the usage away. So I'd probably wait until Moran's price tag gets to be like 93, 94, unless it's like a small slate where you can make it work. But I'd probably go Lillard over Moran at this point. I'd probably even go DeJounte over Moran just because Murray seems to get a lot less ownership. Van Fleet looks appealing at 81. If there's no OG, looks even better just in terms of getting more usage. He's been productive playing next to Siakam. A good spot against Indiana. This game should be a high total and a high scoring affair. McCollum 79. He's fine as well if you want to get to him. But I probably like going to true point guards at the position like De'Aaron Fox. $7,700. He got ejected against Portland last game. He was playing very well. Lost probably 10 minutes or so, and the Kings running a new rotation now without their head coach makes a lot of sense. We didn't see Metu play the last couple of games. You saw Bagley play and hit like the game ceiling 3 in the most recent game. So more minutes look to be on the horizon for Bagley, which makes sense. I don't know what they were thinking. Definitely is as good, if not a little bit better than Metu. Just give him some more time. Cole Anthony 76. If he's not able to suit up, then we're going back to Suggs. We're going back to Wagner. Potentially going to like Carter / Bamba. 6K range. I kind of like Rozier at this price tag. He's only 6,000. He's been playing really good the last couple of games. It gives you just huge ceiling upside. Last one was kind of skewed. 7 stocks, 6 steals. That's not going to happen very often. Probably never happen again for the rest of the year. But he still had a very good price tag that he can easily get you 6x, if not, like 7, 8x if he has a great shooting night. LeVert is fine, 56. He looks appealing. I think we skipped over Brogdon, but I like Brogdon as well. Played 46 in the overtime game. Earlier this year, he dropped 34 in just 21 minutes against Toronto. It is a good spot in terms of just being able to put up some fantasy points. Toronto's defense has been pretty solid, but if they don't have OG, that's going to take a bump. The Pacers are at home. They play at a fast pace, so it's just pretty conducive to being a pretty high-scoring environment. And Brogdon is about $1,000 underpriced, I would say, for the minutes that he plays. Even with LeVert there, they seem to have been prioritizing Brogdon and Sabonis. At least last game, LeVert didn't even play much, even though it did go into overtime. He only played 27 minutes. Maybe he was in foul trouble, but they kind of went to Duarte at the end, who was hot and hit the three to send it into overtime. Patrick Beverley is out, so that is going to just be a bump for D'Angelo Russell. Anthony Edwards, go right back to him. Makes a lot of sense. Suggs, I like him if there is no Cole Anthony, so keep an eye on that. The 4K range, keep an eye on like Rose. If he's out, then we can look to like Burks maybe, or go to Kemba, go to RJ Barrett. Some of these guys off the bench. And that's basically it for the point guard plays. Over at shooting guard, the top end, LaMelo is 10-3 once again. You could save some money and go down to like Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell. They're all in a great price range. Mitchell, especially, he's mainly a tournament option. It's tough when the Jazz are all healthy for a lot of these guys to go off, besides like Gobert in some situations. If he's going up against like Sacramento, or today's matchup looks appealing. But some of these guards, they just have a lot of guys and a lot of high usage players. So Mitchell's fine, but he's not like a priority. Van Fleet looks appealing. I probably don't want to go with a lot of these Pelicans on the road in Utah. Seems to be a little bit of a scary spot. For sure, go with Anthony Edwards once again. Came through last time out. Like I've been saying in the last video, he usually plays big minutes in close games, and he played 43. He was a blowout, 3 straight blowouts, so he lost like a rotation or two. Still was hitting value in 2 out of the 3, but he still gives you a huge ceiling. And today without Beverly, just maybe an extra couple of minutes as well for Anthony Edwards. Handle the ball a little bit more. Other plays that's in the 7K. I mean, Jordan Poole is 71. He's been playing great basketball, but that price tag is tough to get to. Josh Giddey looks amazing. There's no SGA. He's already been ruled out, and Josh Giddey been proving why he was a top overall draft pick. 38, 40 last couple, basically identical assist and rebounding lines. 8 and 7, flirts with a triple-double. Matter of time before he actually secures his first triple-double. This one against Washington, middle of the pack defensively. They're at home, which is a good sign. He was going to play pretty solid minutes. So Josh Giddey has to be one of my favorites. Plays to target. He can play him at 2 positions, so it's very easy to fit him in. In the 5K range, nothing looks that appealing. Maybe Gary Trent if there is no OG. Suggs if there's no Cole Anthony. A lot of these are if their players are missing on the team. Dort looks good just without SGA. 4K range, Kevin Huerter, maybe. Duarte, potentially as a tournament option. And then you have like Malik Beasley, who looks pretty appealing just without Beverly. Probably still won't start, but he's going to just get more minutes. Probably close with him for sure. At small forward, the top end is Jaylen Brown should probably play, so Tatum and Brown, you could play them just because the matchup is solid, but the price tags are kind of expensive on both of these guys. Even if OG plays, I have not much interest in that price tag. The top end isn't looking crazy appealing to me. I like Giddey as a value play. I like Barrett if there is no Rose. I like Gary Trent just because he plays massive minutes if there's no OG. The 4K range, you can go with a value pick here if you needed to with like Franz Wagner at 43. Finally, sometimes it pays to go right back to guys after they have down games, back-to-back terrible games. Played him in both of those, but then I played him against Charlotte, which was a good spot, and he put up 32. Price tag went up a little bit, but he's still underpriced. The matchup against Chicago is a solid one. So keep an eye on like Cole Anthony. That's going to be a pretty big piece of news because he's a high-usage player. If he's out, this opens up a little bit more for these other guys. Terrence Ross also might make a bit of an impact on the Magic if he's out again, dealing with back spasms. Power forward, the top end, Giannis is 12-2. It's a tough spot against Denver, in Denver, but he's fine. If he got more value, he's always playable. Davis, Randall, Tatum, not really guys I'm prioritizing right now. We need some more value picks on the slate to really feel good about them. And we do have a lot of cheap players that look appealing, like $5,600 Wendell Carter going up against his former team. At home looks good. He had another solid performance, double-double against the Hornets front court. He played 32 minutes. The matchup is solid. He's been a lot better at home, averaging 10 more fantasy points. So I like going to Carter, playing me at power forward. You have Wagner as a good value play. You have Bagley as a kind of contrarian play. If there is no Holmes, more minutes for Bagley. They started Alex Len, but they could easily go with a different lineup who's playing well. Value picks, Covington at 4,000 looks good just because he's so cheap. And that's basically it. At center, top end, Jokic, if he does suit up, he's always a great play. I mean, I would rather get to Jokic, $700 cheaper than I would Giannis. I'd rather get to Jokic than Davis, Randall, any of these other guys. Cat makes some exceptions at 95, but I like Gobert a little bit at 82. Back-to-back monster games. He plays good minutes. Going to get you a double-double with ease. Good spot against the Pelicans in terms of just being able to crash the glass against like Valanciunas. They will go back and forth, and none of those guys really. Valanciunas can shoot threes, but typically both guys will just stand right around the basket. And good spot for Rudy Gobert to rack up those rebounds, rack up those putbacks, get some blocks against a young team. Holmes is questionable if he's out. Look to maybe Len as a value. You can look to maybe Bagley. Nurkic had a great game, but the minutes on him are always tough to pick, especially in a game against the Warriors where they could go small with Draymond at the 5. They could run. Portland hasn't been hesitant to play like Nance at the 5 in some of these spots, so it is a little bit risky. And at the bottom, you have like Precious Achiuwa at 41. Looks pretty appealing if you need a cheap value pick. Don't know if he started. They've been going Birch at some of these spots, but a good spot to maybe go to Precious Achiuwa if he is starting. And then Birch. Oh, Birch is out, so that's... So Birch is out, and then OG is questionable, so I kind of like going to Precious Achiuwa here at $4,100. Nice, cheap. Plug him in for now. And then at the guard spot here, I like going to like De'Aaron Fox at 77 for now. At his cheap price tag at 77. Looking at the forward picks, you can probably get up to Sabonis at 88. He was playing well, and then he got into foul trouble. And then 5 fouls. He wasn't able to be as aggressive as he typically is, and he only played 35, which is what he normally does in regulation. So he didn't really get the 5 extra minutes in overtime. He did, but he lost minutes in regulation, so it kind of was a wash. It's a good spot against Toronto, against his front court. Kind of like going to Sabonis at home. Sabonis and Brogdon have been carrying the team in the last couple. He makes sense to plug into your forward spot. You could go with Fox if you wanted to as well. He's been always one of my favorite players to roster. This year it's been kind of frustrating rostering Fox, but it is a good spot. And if Harrison Barnes is out, then just one less value pick to kind of focus on, or one less high usage player on the Kings to get the ball. So that's it for DraftKings. Leaves you about 5K. I'm sure we'll get a lot of changes as the day goes on, but a quick early build for this slate. And let's look at FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel here, point guard plays. Curry is affordable at 10.5. FanDuel's pricing has been a little bit softer at the top end, so Curry looks like a great play. LaMelo looks like a great play. Lillard and Ja Morant look pretty appealing at their price tags. I probably like Lillard a little bit more than Trae Young, Chris Paul, Van Fleet trio. Looking in the low 8K range, you have Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell. Now that Vooch is back, hurts LaVine a little bit. Vooch going up against his former team, but I think I might lean Mitchell if I had to pick between these two. But the 7K range is strong. Once again, you have Fox at only 73. So easy to get to him, but Brogdon is probably my favorite at only 72, given the minutes that he plays, given the usage that he does have. And the matchup is a pretty solid one against Toronto. Rozier is 63. He's playable as well. You can take shots on Suggs if there is no Cole Anthony again today. You have Kemba if there's no Derrick Rose. And the 4K range, you have like Kobe White. Take a shot on some of these guys, but probably a position you want to spend up on a little bit, at least like 5K above range. You have at least a handful of options. At shooting guard, you have DeJounte Murray at 97. He's fine. I like him on DraftKings a little bit more. He's cheaper. You can take a shot on Bradley Beal against a pretty poor Thunder defense. But you have Anthony Edwards right here who looks appealing. Devin Booker is affordable. You have Russell also affordable as well. So shooting guard looks to be a little bit deeper than small forward. You even have Josh Giddey at 62 who looks like a pretty core play. I wish Giddey was also small forward eligible. So you're probably going to have to utilize one of your shooting guard spots on Giddey, at least in cash games. And tournaments also I like Giddey just because there's no SGA and he's been taking a lot of usage. And He does give you big upside with the assist, rebounding, playing big minutes, or at least solid minutes. The 4K range, don't think you need to really go crazy here. There's so many good plays that are in the 6K and above range, but if you had to, maybe Bogdanovich at 48 doesn't look to be the worst play. But going with Josh Giddey, tough to pass up on Giddey on both sites today. Small forward, the top end, you can go Giannis. He's cheaper than he is on DraftKings, so he looks okay. I probably won't get to LeBron or Tatum, with the Lakers being pretty much healthy, and then Jaylen Brown would be my preferred play. Over Tatum, he's way cheaper. He might get back to playing over 30 minutes today. So Brown, I like him a little bit. I like him more than Ingram just based on the matchup here. Cheaper range, if there's no Harrison Barnes, that'll be a bump for like Fox and be a bump for whoever starts in his place. They have a number of guys that they can throw in there, but maybe Harkless gets some more minutes. Maybe they give some more minutes to like Buddy Hield. You have Covington expensive. He's not appealing on FanDuel. Powell looks better than Covington. Dort maybe looks better than both of them. Kevin Huerter is 53 now, so he's not much of a play. He's getting a little bit priced out on FanDuel. Nance is 51, so FanDuel priced some of these mid-range guys way expensive, and they have some of these studs a little bit cheaper than they should be. Beasley at only $4,200 looks to be a pretty good play without having Patrick Beverley. You can play Edwards at small forward, so do that. Power forward, probably will pass on some of these top-end guys. I love the 8K range with Sabonis and Randall is just too cheap. At 87, Sabonis looks great. Siakam at only 79, so that range looks a little bit better to me than the top-end guys. Don't have to break the bank. Then Robert Williams is out, so more minutes for like Al Horford, but now that they have Brown, they can kind of mix things up a little bit more. A little bit at the bottom, maybe you can look to Precious Achiuwa if he starts, but 5K, a little bit different than 41, and keep an eye on OG. If he's out, that'll just help Precious. If OG is in, then they could go small and start Siakam at the 5, just based on, well, maybe not. The matchup is kind of conducive to starting a big, at least, against Sabonis and Turner, so keep an eye on the starting lineup. But either way, you want to see if Achiuwa starts. That'll kind of make an impact on FanDuel at least. But going Sabonis on both sides, he's underpriced on FanDuel. He's probably appropriately priced on DraftKings, but he still gives you big upside. Plays good minutes in close games, and if he's not in foul trouble, and hopefully he's able to remain out of foul trouble and kind of feast on a pretty appealing matchup in the front court. At center, if Jokic is in, he looks great at 11-3. Looking for a more balanced type of build, Vooch is only 76 going up against his former team. Looks like a nice value pick. You have Randall. And then Valanciunas only 72. The matchup is super tough going up against Utah, but we've never seen Valanciunas this cheap. Even in limited minutes, last couple with like blowouts and foul trouble probably situations, 37 in 24 minutes, 23 in 18 minutes, and 38 in 23. Even though it's a tough spot, he's going to play big minutes to just match up against Gobert. And Valanciunas has had some big games against Gobert, if I remember correctly. Looking for a value pick, you can go Jakob Poeltl at 58. He looks appealing on both sites. He looks good on FanDuel. Even on DraftKings, he's like 57. Wendell Carter, 55, also a good play. But Valanciunas looks pretty appealing just with the upside that he gives you at a very cheap price tag. So right now I have Valanciunas, depending on how the day goes, might go to like Poeltl, might go to Wendell Carter, but Carter at least you can play at power forward. But probably won't go to Precious at 5K when I have these other guys just basically a little bit cheap or more expensive, but probably better overall picks. But that's it on FanDuel and DraftKings. For updates, follow my Twitter. I'll post the final cores closer to lock. Thank you for watching, and best of luck tonight.